said she wouldn't know what excitement was or an adrenaline rush if it hit her in the face. They were right. Amy looked down at the dress she was wearing. It was a plain Armani scarlet sheath, befitting the holidays, with a slit up the leg. It draped perfectly over her body. Just the right neckline, just the right amount of sleeve. She'd walked the red carpet enough to know she looked glamorous in her sparkling gown. Just like all her female guests looked glamorous. Once she'd heard a rumor that if you wanted to attend an Amy Lee party, you had better dress down. At the time, she'd thought it funny. Now, it wasn't funny. Why was that? Her head continued to throb each time she put her foot on one of the steps. Thank God she'd made it to the bottom without her head splitting open. She walked among her guests, chatted, patted arms, smiled, and even giggled at something one of her employees said. She risked a glance at her watch. 50 minutes to go. 3,000 seconds. It felt like a lifetime. It dawned on Amy that she'd been so busy with the party details that she hadn't eaten a thing all day. Maybe if she ate something, the headache would go away. Amy made her way over to the buffet table. Earlier in the evening, it had looked gorgeous, with a Christmas tree ice sculpture nestled in a circle of bright red poinsettias. The matching red candles had long ago burned down. Red candle wax pooled on the white tablecloth. The lobster and shrimp in their ice bowls, what was left of it, looked watery. The turkey and roast beef looked dry. The champagne fountain was as dry as the turkey and roast beef. She felt a surge of anger. Where were the people she'd hired to take care of the table? Outside smoking cigarettes, that's where. Did it even matter? When the last guest left, maybe she'd scramble herself some eggs. 40 minutes to go. 2,400 seconds. What she should do was go to the sleigh, pretend her watch was fast, and start handing out the presents and the bonus checks. There were expensive token gifts for the other guests, so they wouldn't feel left out. Boy-girl gifts. Tomorrow, it would be all over TMZ, Page 6, and anywhere else the gossips gathered. It was all part of playing the game. Amy moved closer to the sleigh, touched her secretary's arm and whispered. Word spread, and the guests started to mince their way toward the sleigh. 20 minutes later, it was all over, and she was standing at the door wishing the last guest a Merry Christmas. 2 weeks early, the last guest pointed out. But then, my dear, you always were ahead of the curve. Amy forced a smile and stood in the open doorway until the last car pulled away from the driveway. The valet boys waved and walked down the driveway. Amy turned to go inside when she looked at her oversized, magnificent front door. She loved everything about the house, but the front door was special. She'd had it made of mahogany and gone to great lengths to find a lumber mill to round it out so that it looked like a cathedral door. Any time she had been interviewed at home, the reporters had taken pictures of her front door. A memory. She was going to miss it. Her eyes burned when she looked at the huge silver bells attached to a glorious red satin bow. The bells were hammered silver, specially made. The tone was so pure, so melodious, it always brought tears to her eyes when they rang. Another memory. Maybe she'd take the bells with her. Amy closed the huge door and locked it. Now she could relax. First, though, she walked about, turning off lights. The buffet table had been cleared and carried away. There was still noise in the kitchen, but she ignored it. She kicked off her heels and made her way to the sofa. She sat down, leaned back, and closed her eyes. It took a full minute to realize her headache was finally gone. The multicolored lights